Next, let's talk about financial research database. Right? These databases, they provide companies' financial statement and other related disclosure information. They will be used in many of the research, for example, when we investigate companies, right? Unfunded pension liabilities. We investigate their pending government investigations. Most likely, when we investigate their financial performance, like ratio analysis, right, or credit ratings. So there are some major provider of those databases. You've seen the RailX. The previous name is, I believe it's Reed Elsevier, which is very famous publisher. It's a British multinational information providers, right? Some of the famous products like LexisNexis, right? And the Science Director. Next, we have the Canadian multinational corporation, the Thomson Reuters. Okay, it's a famous database like a Checkpoint, right? Is from Thomson Reuters. And Reuters, right? Another law database, Westlaw, and SDC database provides merger and acquisition, basically merger and acquisition information. Another financial accounting database, CCH, is from the Worcester Kloor. It's a Netherlands company. Right? Another British information provider is LSEG. Right? Its database include merchant and data stream. In US, we have Dow Jones. Right? We have a lot of Dow Jones products. One of them is Factivier. Bloomberg provide the data with Bloomberg terminals. And then finally, Standard Poor's, right? Financial research database include Capital IQ, CompuStat. Those are frequently visited database for accounting and finance research. So let's talk a little bit about SP Capital IQ. Basically, it provides market news, right? Economies, industries, news, and it has quick links to industry surveys, investment publications, right? Investment advisory reports. It covers both private and public companies and provides a powerful search function. Right? It also contains bonds information like the type of bonds, ratings, and callabilities. If you do accounting research, many times we have to use Capital IQ, or maybe the CompuStat can do similar things, but we don't have subscription to Capital IQ. So let's see something we have, like Merchant Online. So Merchant Online provide public company information, right? From Merchant Online, we can get companies' financial, right? Their histories, can check all their joint ventures, right? And the many other information. We also can check their stock prices. And one of the very useful functions is we can check their financial ratios. So we don't have to calculate by ourselves. We can check their financial ratios provided by the database. We can get a group of companies, like we can set up industry comparisons and generate customer reports. Right? Foreign companies are also covered. So let's take a look. It's available through our library. Right, so you're going to get to the library database list, right? Check the M, and you're going to find the Merchant Online. It says it's retired, right, recently, and it's replaced by this Merchant Market Atlas, Right, so let's get to the merchant market atlas. Right, so it's give us a page that allow us to search by company name or symbols, or you can search a group of companies by selecting country, right, the state, exchange, and industries. And also you can set a limit of the revenues or number of employees. But let's search a single company, for example, Apple, right? We also know Apple. Click search. So they will give a lot of company named Apple. But this is one we want to take a look. That's Apple Incorporated, right? APL ticker number, and they're listed in NASDAQ. You can see the many other companies called Apple, right? We have a pie, we have an apple, that's pineapple, right? Next we're gonna click apples. Right, so we have everything about Apple. We have an overview of our apples, right? A lot containing the history of apples, right? Their stock performance, financial analysis, right? You can check the news. So it collects the recent news from Apple from various sources. Right, if you like the financials, click financials, and here you can get access to their financial statement. Right, financial statement. You can check income statement, balance sheet, cash flows, right? Or if you want to go to the ratio series, right, and you can get all Apple's ratios. We can check their definitions, right? And you can export them to an Excel file. Then you can use them later on, which is very useful. Let's see other information provides. We can check their chart, filings, right? You can also check their executives, right? You can check their background, right? Tim Cooker, right? And the ownership, right? And notice 55% of Apple's stocks are owned by institutional investors. And check the sustainability report. Right, and what more investors like to see their ESG ratings of US companies. The ESG rating are very popular for European companies because those companies are required to report sustainability disclosures, but US we have not required such disclosures yet. But ESG ratings is everyone want to take a look at it, right? And if you want to view the full report, you can always download the full report. Also provide the many years report. Alright, so that's for a single company search. Let's check other features. You can find filings. You're gonna check all the filings from SECs and rating. Right, you can get the rating report for most public companies worldwide. And you can check the sustainability disclosures and report, right, for all companies. And you can view industry comparisons. Right, Russell indexes total returns, economic indicators. right? And the country inside report. Right? If you want to invest overseas, right? Make sure you check those country report. It's a country risk profile. Right, so basically a lot of stuff in the merchant database. I'm sure it will be very useful when you conduct various, business research, not only for accounting, right, but also for other researches. Other financial database. Audit analytics. Audit analytics, basically it provides audit informations, right, where you can see all the company's information about the auditors, right, the audit opinions, audit changes, audit fees, right, information about their restatement and internal controls. So anything from the audit report can be found from audit analytics. It also have some ratings, rating for their audit risk. Right, if you want to check the mutual fund performance, you want to check the Morningstar Investment Research Center to get mutual fund information. Right, the FactView is from the Dow Jones. Basically, you can check news and data monitoring from FactView. And if you want to focus on purely, company's quarterly annual financial statement, and CompuStat is the best place. And for their financial, stock price information, you want to check the basic CRISP, and the CompuStat can provide you with a very, very good combination for empirical accounting and finance research. Alright, so let's mention DB Hoover. DB Hoover is also a good source to get companies information, and it's available through library. Okay, so let's take a look at it. Right, so find the database list D and click DB Hoover. Now, the nice thing about DB Hoover is it covers not only public companies but a lot of private companies and public sectors. Right, for example, the school district, right, and hospitals, those kind of things. So let's see how we can use DB Hoover. For example, I'm interested to see, who are the big corporations here in Houston. So I'm going to build a company list, right, by selecting Houston, Texas. Right, you can add other filters, but let's see whose annual sales are over, right, $100 million. Let's see who are these big corporations. No restrictions for industries. Everything will be included. But if you want to focus on specific industry, that's fine. You can add those criteria. Right, so I want to take a look at those big corporations. Right, I think I forgot to add the sales numbers, but easily can add those numbers easily. Okay, over 100, click add. Okay, now it's added. Can view results again. Okay, now I have 750 corporations. Let's see what are those big ones. Schlumberger, right, we know that. Texas Medical Center. Right, Medical Center is also a big corporations. It's quite a lot, right? The Cisco, Waste Management, Baker Hughes. Right, we have seen a lot of familiar names. Halliburton, Chevron, right? Right, Fertitta, right, laundry. All right, so right, if you want to see more about like Schlumberger, just click Schlumberger, and you're gonna get to the company's information. Right now you have very detailed information about these companies. Right? You can check their summaries, descriptions, site contact, who you can contact. So the database collect all important people from these corporations. Right? Chief information officers, for example, and you have the corporate phone number. And here you have their decision matrix, right? So the CEOs and the senior officers, board of directors, and other function groups like accounting, finance, and you can check their corporate families, right? Their headquarters and who are their subsidiaries, right? And joint ventures. You can see everything about the company, and you can always download those information for further analysis. Right here is something interesting if you are doing the management courses. That is, you can see the SWOT analysis, right? This is an analysis that's required for the cornerstone courses that can easily get those information here. Right, in the advanced sections, you can check their competitors, right? Closest industry peers, annual reports, and the standardized financial information, which you can download for analysis. Right, annual ratios. It also has ratios. Who are their competitors? Right, a lot of competitors. Closest industry peers. Right. Right. Many of them are here, Houston. Alright, so let's see if their annual ratios. Right, so to provide a similar analysis compared to merchant, which is you can download the analysis from various databases to see if they are different. They might be different, slightly different, depending on which formula they have adopted for those ratio analysis. It's very comprehensive. Very comprehensive. It's enough for any, any class project, All right, so this is one way to use the DB hoovers. Of course, as I said, you can always check public companies, but also it covers, private companies as well. And also, you can use the DB hoovers to research industries. Right? You can check the industry. For example, I want to take a look at the manufacturing I want to check automobile and light-duty motor vehicle manufacturing. Alright, so we have industry analysis. So we can check the market research report, right, globally. And here we have a report for the United States, right, provided by this company. You can check 160 market research report worldwide. You can check the top industry participants, right? Volkswagen, right? Toyota, Ford, GM, Hyundai. Right, so you can take a look at those things. Another huge usage for DB Hoovers, as you can see, DB Hoovers collect, contact information. They go through the corporate pages, and find all important people's contact information. So here you may build an actionable contact list for your own use. Right, for example, I want to get connected with all the CFOs, right, located here in Houston. So what I can do is I can add a few criteria. For example, job functions, right? Accounting executives. I want to get connected with chief accountant, right, or vice president accounting. Maybe they're the chief financial officers, right? Acting chief financial officers and chief financial officers, maybe co-chief. Let's see. Okay, that's pretty enough, but you can always refine the search results. Okay. So you have a lot of those people, but I want them to be here. Locations in Houston, Texas. All right, so I have 782 results, so that's pretty good group. I will pull down a long list of those big accounting peoples here in Houston, right, and the company they're working for, industries, so you can always refine your results to certain industries. For example, if you want to talk to people, right, at various hospitals, and you can always limit the search for hospitals, and most likely they are from oil and gas company industries, a lot of them from oil and gas industries, right? So if you want to talk to certain alumni, you can always right, refine, right, personal information. You can add a college where they graduate from, a degree and a degrees, majors, although the information is not that complete, but still useful, right? So yeah, if you want to sell your products, you can also create lists with all the corporate procurement purchase department, right? If you want to send out your CV, you can get a list of the HR people. So it's very useful for DB Hoovers. Right, so this is a brief introduction of DB Hoovers. Well, the Bloomberg Professional Service delivers data news, typically news, right? We see a lot of Bloomberg news. Right. Financial research challenges. First, not everything is available online, and some physical visiting the library is beneficial, especially if you want to get, the information that existed a long time ago. Those information, you have to go to library, check the information from the newspaper, physical newspaper, or other sources like tapes, right? If they're really old data. And government agencies generally provide reliable information. They can check all the government information from the consensus, U.S. consensus database. But sometimes it's difficult to find information about hedge funds and private equities because information is not transparent for those organizations. And sometimes we need specialized research information about mergers, acquisitions, right? Credit, bankruptcies. We need specialized database, and sometimes the charges will be very high for those databases. While the globalizations and complexity of legal and regulatory issues, they are making research more challenging for today's financial research. Right, when we try to find articles and right, we're gonna use a lot from the library, and right, the EBESCO host through the libraries can give us a better source for those articles, and from the all the public libraries or school libraries, we can always access to the Wall Street Journal or other financial journals for free. For other business research sources, the Global Edge Resource Desk, it's a web directory of trade issues, monies, and the statistics and current international topics. I have not used that. Okay. GetStar, okay, provide access to the tax return of non-profit entities, and I've used this several times. Right, if you search GetStarts, it gives you free access to non-profit organizations' tax returns. Because if you're a non-profit, you have to file a tax return, and that will be captured by the database. This PACER, it's public access to court electronic records. So this provide companies, it's court records. For example, you can check information about bankruptcy, right? Information, and they can check any of their activities in the federal court systems. And the ProQuest Statistical Insight provides statistical data from federal agencies, nonprofit, corporate sources. The U.S. Trade Online provide access to document involving international trade data. And IBIS World, okay, it's used to access detailed industry report or understanding industry dynamics. Alright, so this IBIS World is available through our library. So let's take a look at IBIS World. Right, if we find I can see the IBIS World is right here. IBIS World provides user-friendly information about the industry, right? Or you want to focus on certain product. And here, right, these are the industry that most people are researching recently. So let's see, right, for example, the coffee and snack shops in US, to see what are those industries. Right, so it's $72 billion industries, and more than 1 million people are employed. And we have the typical industry analysis, right? Its concentration is lower, barriers to entry lower. Right, these are typical the 5 forces analysis, right, and also SWOT analysis is also included. And on the left navigation bar, you can see the detailed information about the performance or product market. Let's see. So what are the product? Right, the beverage, consuming store, right, drive-through, those are take almost 45%, right, of the total industry revenues. Now, who are they? Let's see. Well, the major player is Starbucks corporations. These blue lines annual revenues and red dashes is percentage changes. See, it's right. It's a market competition. You can see the competition, the change of revenues is slowing down in recent years. Right. So if you want to study, certain industries, you can always check the IBES web. It provides, in my opinion, it's industry-wide information. It is good, compared to other database we have seen. So for industry information, it is pretty good. A legal research database, Lexis database, for sure, is a very popular ones, right? Its main version is LexisNexis United States. I provide business news, which is has aliens with Dow Jones, right? Legal, company, financial information, including the SEC filings, and mergers, acquisition information. Right, it's available through the LexisNexis, but we don't have a formal, subscription to this database. Well, Lexis Uni, it's a version for university and business school subscribers, right? Provide business, legal, and news information. Again, we don't have the subscription to Nexus Uni. But for accounting and tax research, better to use Checkpoint, okay, or CCH. But we have Checkpoint. Right, other legal database, Westlaw, right? Talk about Westlaw. And emerging legal database, Bloomberg's Law, Fast Cases, and Hand Online. Right, Hand Online provides text access to law-related periodicals. So if you want to check articles related to law, and here online can give those articles. It's available through libraries. So if you are interested in checking the law literatures, you can always check the Hand Online through the library link. Right, so it's pretty much for this lecture.